Season 23 has launched, and I think the entire community is super excited for this season. The beginning of the season had a very strong launch, with the coil activity being probably one of the best seasonal activities we've ever received in Destiny 2. I'm enjoying this activity. It gives a ton of loot. It's super challenging, and I would love to see Bungie just keep pushing that, roguelike type gameplay for the future of Destiny. But today we are going to be discussing Warlords Ruin and the actual loot that comes from this dungeon, because the dungeon as itself is an amazing dungeon, from the aesthetics of the dungeon to the boss encounters. Even the weapons look pretty good. There are some reskins that we are going to discuss, but the weapons are the whole issue of the dungeon. That's the whole thing we're going to be talking about today, is the weapons and the armor in the dungeon. Again, the dungeon is a double thumbs up from me, from gameplay to the boss encounters to the aesthetic of the dungeon, but it is just missing the loot. That is the one huge missing point that Bungie definitely missed with this dungeon. So we're going to be diving straight into it. If you do enjoy today's Destiny 2 video, please be sure to let me know by smashing that thumbs up button. But without further ado, let's dive straight into it. So to kick things off, let's discuss the weapons. So we got 4 brand new weapons from Warlords Ruin. We get the strand bow, the caster frame. We also get a brand new archetype, the sidearm rockets, and then we also get the brand new sniper rifle as well, which is strand. And then we get the dungeon exotic, which is also a sidearm rocket. So these weapons have a huge issue to them. On the surface level, they have potential. We have a sniper rifle, it has potential. We have the bow, it has potential. The caster frame, we can just put that to the side and just say they put that in there for filler. And then the brand new archetype, it all has potential to honestly be meta defining or just be pretty good weapons that you'll use on a regular basis. Here we have the potential, but Bungie doesn't hit the marker with any of these weapons. Unfortunately, they gave all of these weapons terrible rolls. On the sniper, we don't even have a PvP or a PvE roll. I don't know what to go for on the sniper. I'm just trying to get it, honestly, just to get it in my collections and put it in the vault. I have no clue what to hunt for on the sniper when it comes down to the rolls. When it comes down to this new archetype, honestly, I don't see what it's used for. I mean, I have an SMG that I could use. There's just so many other options to use. Yes, it's extremely fun to use, but no, it doesn't have any usage in any part of the game that I can see at the moment. I have better options already in my vault. That is definitely an issue that Destiny has faced over the years, but honestly, just putting some better rolls on these weapons would it just entice me more to want to farm these weapons out to try those better rolls. So I've yet to get my hands on the dungeon exotic, but from leaked gameplay and also from gameplay I've seen over on YouTube, it honestly looks really good for PvP, but for PvE, it looks like it fails to hit that point once again. And I'm kind of getting tired of seeing dungeon exotics fail to hit that point of being useful in the game. We have the navigator, and I've yet to find a useful situation for that exotic weapon. Maybe I'm just using it incorrectly, but honestly, it's just not my cup of tea. We have the berry bloodline, and even though it does give devoured and has a pretty good sounding catalyst, it doesn't seem like it's gonna be meta defining. It doesn't even seem like I'm gonna ever use this weapon, like literally ever use this weapon. There's just so many other choices in the game that I could use, and that's just unfortunate. I'm just tired of seeing dungeon exotics suffer the same fate of being unuseful in the game. Give us a dungeon exotic that's actually worth using, and something that could be worth chasing. Right now, it just feels like none of these dungeon exotics are actually worth chasing. And I don't know if it's because, these dungeons are $20 and they don't want to make meta defining weapons in these dungeons, or what the situation is, but something's got to shake, something's got to give, because honestly, these weapons they aren't doing it this time around. I see no reason for me to actually hop into Warlords Ruin and farm out any of these weapons, because again, none of them are meta defining. The bow has some potential because it does have the slice perk on it. I keep talking about this slice perk. It's honestly because it has sever and you can lower the damage output of your enemy, and that's super good, and it sounds like it'll be super fire for PvP. But again, for any of these other weapons, I just don't see myself farming any of them. honestly, I don't see myself farming any of these weapons, and that's so unfortunate because the aesthetic of the dungeon is amazing. The boss encounters in the dungeon are amazing. Everything about this dungeon is amazing, and I enjoy my experience. I just wish I was rewarded with loot that felt like, it's worth my time. So to end this video, we're gonna end on the armor note from the dungeon. Honestly, I don't want to take anything away from the dungeon. The dungeon, again, is an amazing experience. It might just be the best dungeon in Destiny 2. Definitely dive into the dungeon to, experience this dungeon because, again, it's something we've never seen in the Destiny universe. But the armor in the dungeon, oh my god, this armor has no potential to it. I don't see any sets where I'll be, putting together any sets with this armor. It's just not my cup of tea, and everybody has their own taste. Some people are seeing this armor and they're drooling at the mouth. Other people are seeing this armor and you're just going to pass on it and you're going to wait for the next set of armor to come around. And that is me. I'm in the second crowd. Honestly, this armor is just not it for me. Alongside the weapons not being a slap, we also got the armor not slapping either, and that's just so unfortunate with this dungeon. I understand where Bungie was coming from with it being a castle and it being a wintertime setting, give us some wintertime gear, but no, it's an Iron Lord type of setting, a Dark Age type of setting. We could have went ahead and just went with the Rise of Iron Lord armor, and we would have been in a better situation than we're in right now. Again, everybody has their own taste. I'm not knocking you if you really enjoy this armor, or if you've already put together a set with this armor, go do your thing and go show your drip off. But me, honestly, the armor is just not doing it for me. One easy solution to this would have been, take the Witcher set that you can purchase for like 20 or 25 bucks from the Eververse store, and put that in the dungeon as the actual armor for the dungeon, and then take this armor from the dungeon and put it in the Witcher set, and you can price that however you want to price that. But honestly, Bungie knew that wouldn't have made any money, obviously, because the armor set for the Witcher bundle is just so much better than the armor set for the dungeon. And honestly, the armor sets from the dungeon aren't usually that good. Like, honestly, they're never really that good. When you go back to like the Pit of Heresy and Prophecy and things like that, those armor sets aren't really anything that I'm calling home about. I'm trying to, farm out like a madman trying to get my hands on that armor. But with Ghost of the Deep, Bungie changed their ways. They changed their ways with Ghost of the Deep. That armor is fire. Honestly, I wanted to get it on all three of my characters. It's just mind-blowing armor. I'm like, this armor it's fire. I mean, I see where Bungie's going, and I'm like, honestly, I'm excited to see where the next dungeon's gonna be like. And then when we got Crota's End and they brought back the Age of Triumph armor, I'm like, I'm so here for this. This armor is a slap, man. Every season, this armor is going super hard. And then we have this season roll around with Warlords Ruin, and we're taking steps back because this armor is not on par with Ghost of the Deep or Crota's End, and it's just so unfortunate. Again, with the dungeon going so hard aesthetically, and with the bosses, and with everything from this dungeon going so hard, and then the loot being this hard of a miss, it just hurts me in my soul, man. It honestly hurts me in my soul. And this just wouldn't hurt so bad if it wasn't such a long season. Like, when I look at it, it's like, man, if the armor and the weapons in this dungeon went hard, I would be farming this dungeon out all season long, or until I got really, really bored with this dungeon, because the experience and the gameplay from the dungeon is enough to carry me through this entire thing. But when there's no loot and nothing that I'm like aspirational about trying to go in there and go grind out, I see no reason to hop into this dungeon and continuously grind for weapons or for armor when both are a freaking miss. We can look back at past dungeons and both aren't a miss, the armor or the weapons. One or the other misses. The armor sucks and the weapons are good. The armor's good and the weapons suck. So, we're kind of experiencing that with, each dungeon. And then Ghost of the Deep just shook up everything, man. It changed the energy in the entire room, honestly. It made the armor and the weapons sought after by everybody. The armor was fire. The weapons were meta-defining. It was just a game-changing dungeon. And I want to use the excuse like, it's a $20 dungeon. Bungie doesn't want to put, something too good behind a $20 paywall. But that can't be the truth, because look at the Eververse store. Everything fuego and super fire is behind the silver wall where you actually have to put real money into the game. So that's definitely not the case. I don't know what's going on with this dungeon, man. And, you know, hopefully Bungie actually comes out and says something, but I doubt it, because what is there to honestly say? What is there to honestly say? The weapons were a miss, the armor was a miss, but you did an amazing job with the dungeon. You know, I have so many mixed feelings about this now, and it's just something I wish we weren't dealing with, because we need every single W that we can catch leading up to the final shape. Watching everything burn down right before season 23 launch was a terrible thing to watch from the distance, and as you know, somebody being involved in the community. So every W that we can get, we need leading up to the final shape, and this was a easy layup right here, man. Like, you know, you hit it away with the dungeon, smack it away with the loot, you know, easy layup for the community, and that's easy W for everybody all around. But you know, we missed it, man. And you know, hopefully we see some buffs to these archetypes, and you know, we can't do nothing about the armor. And you know, this dungeon, it's definitely gonna go down as one of the best, but loot wise, it definitely gets, you know, an F grade from me. But yeah, guys, that's gonna do it for me in this Destiny 2 video. If you did enjoy, please be sure to let me know by smashing that thumbs up button, and don't forget to subscribe for more. And I, being your boy T Glizzy, has been my awesome viewers, and I'll see you guys in another. Peace.